Hello, my name is Randy Dobson. I'm an instructor here in the Houston, Texas area, and this video will actually be covering a problem that an assignment I've given my students. It's Chapter 4, Problem 5, and I'm just going to construct it just to give them a heads up on how I would do this drawing. So you would need that assignment in front of you to follow along. The first thing I would do is create the small 5 circles that are all the same size, which is a diameter of 0.5. So go to center, diameter. I'm just going to pick anywhere and give it a diameter, type in of 0.5. You zoom in a little bit. So since that is the same size as the remaining 4, I'm just going to copy it using my ortho, and I will be able to copy it the exact distance. Ortho 1.25, 1.25 I'm inputting, then I can go down 1.25 and then go up 1.25. Now, one thing to remember is I was able to do that because they all came from this center circle. I went 1.25 this way, 1.25 this way, and so on. If I had, say, drawn this one first, I would have went 1.25 this way and then 2.5, because again, this is my starting point. So now I have my 5 small circles. This middle one we won't touch ever again. That one will be left alone. So now I know that I need to create a circle around these 4, and excuse me, looking at the problem, it says that there's 4 of them and their radius 0.5. That's something to pay very close attention to. It's not really a trick, because typically in this book a diameter is called out for a circle and a radius is called out for an arc. And of course the difference between those two is an arc is not a complete circle. So I'm going to draw a circle in mind, and I'm going to use a radius, and I want it to be the center, so I'm going to type in CEN, my O snaps, enter, and I'm going to give it a radius of 0.5. So now I've got this circle here. I don't want to keep drawing it, so I'm just going to go to copy, pick this outside circle, go to the CEN, center of this circle, turn my ortho off there for a minute, go to the center CEN of this circle, the CEN of this circle, and CEN enter of this circle. Whoops, didn't hit it right. There we go. So now I've got the basics of what my object's starting to look like. Now this is where people do it differently, and I'm going to show you the way that I do it, just so I'm not having to type everything in on my O snaps. I'm going to change, because I'm going to be using quadrant. So I'm going to have it to where quadrant is on. So I'm going to turn my ortho back on, and I'm going to go line from this quadrant here over to the right, click, and hit escape. I'm just going to put a little trail line out there. Now I'm going to hit line, go to this quadrant, come out, and stop. And I'm going to do this all the way around. And what I'm doing is I'm setting myself up to use my fillet to do those corners, and I'm just going again, line from quadrant over. And you have to be careful if you have any other O snaps on, because it might snap to this end point or somewhere else. So as you notice, I'm going to back up here for a second. I'm going to open my O snaps back up down here at the right. That all I have is quadrant on, so that's all I'm looking for. If I had end or something else on, it might snap to something that I don't want, but I know that all I'm using is quadrant. So let me go back and go line, quadrant. I'm just coming out here, no set distance, hitting escape, line, coming down, line, coming down. Now what I'm going to do is I need to make these little corners here, and if you look on the assignment, it says there's 4 of them and they have a radius of 0.25. So I'm going to come up here to fillet, and as you can see my radius is 0, so I want to change the radius by selecting R and going 0.25, enter. Now since I'm going to be doing a bunch of them, 4 of them, after I put in that, I'm going to go ahead and hit multiple. That way the command will stay open. So I'm going to come down here and hit multiple. I know in my video on fillet, I don't go into this, but this is just something that you can pick up if you're looking at this video. So I'm going to go to multiple. Now I just pick this line and that line, and there you have a nice corner. I haven't done no enter. I'm just going to pick this line. It allows me to just keep going around and selecting these 2. Oops. And then I hit escape. Now I'm almost done. Excuse me. I'm going to need to get rid of this, trim this off, so I'm going to go to trim. I'm going to pick this line and this line, hit enter, and trim that off. Hit escape, start trim again. Now there is a shorter way to this, but I want to show you these step by step. So trim, this is a cutting edge, this is a cutting edge. I hit enter and get rid of that. Hit escape to get out of that command. Trim, cutting edge, enter, get rid of that. Trim, cutting edge, enter, trim that, and there the problem is complete. And that is one way of doing it. There are other ways, but that is the way that I will do it. Then that concludes this video. Thank you.